What's going on, guys? Richie here, back again from the Red Planet Films, bringing you yet another movie review, and this time it is going to be for Jeepers Creepers 3. Now, just to start off right away, this is going to be full spoilers, so if you don't want the movie spoiled for you, I suggest checking it out if you want to. Come back when you do see it, so you can further get my thoughts and opinions on this movie, and then we can have, sort of a better conversation, hopefully, in the comment section. But anyways, I literally just got back home maybe about, I don't know, roughly 10 minutes ago. Just saw it with my sister and my cousin. We were both pretty hyped about it. Me, her, and my cousin, as well as his brother, I should say, blah. We were huge fans of the first two films. I do believe actually it was my two cousins that kind of told us about it, and then we ended up seeing it like one day on like Sci-Fi or something like that when we were fairly young. So I believe the first film came out in 2001, and then the second one was maybe 2004, 2003 or 2004. I don't really quite remember, but it was early 2000s. But those films to me, I mean, I grew up on them and everything like that, and I thought the Creeper was so, methodical and terrifying and just creepy and everything like that. And it was like an original character. It was an original monster, you know what I mean? Granted, I mean, I guess you can kind of pick and choose different characteristics and traits that sort of made up this monster from previous monster movies and everything like that that we've seen in cinema. However, it was something cool. It's like, okay, this is my generation's maybe Freddy Krueger or Michael Myers or something like that. Like every generation kind of has like their own sort of horror icon, I guess. Maybe if you even want to, I don't know, consider Jigsaw or something like that from the Saw films or something along those lines. You know what I mean? Or Ghostface from Scream. So, we grew up on these movies. We always watched them like every year around like Halloween time and everything like that. Around this time, and we all these years passing by and then growing up and everything, we would always kind of conceptualize to ourselves what a third film might be and everything like that. And even hearing, like the director saying like, oh, I want to do this, that, whatever, with Trisha, and the guy at the end of the second film, like just holding his guard in his barn, blah blah blah, whatever, blah blah blah. So then we would kind of talk amongst ourselves like, oh, like it'd be cool if like they did this and that or whatever. And this franchise has a huge fan base and everything like that, which has pretty much kept it alive and everything. And I would always kind of fear for the worst that maybe it would get rebooted or something like that, because everything gets rebooted nowadays. And I really didn't want that, because Jonathan Breck is the Creeper, like that, just plain and simple. Like he made this character what it is. So kudos to him and everything like that. So I really can't envision anybody else doing it. You know what I mean? Unless it's like some unknown who's like, I don't know. I just don't want to think about that day. So, all that being said, I'm pretty sure you can tell that we were very much hyped for this movie. When the trailer dropped maybe about like a month ago or something like that, and then it said like, oh, one night only, I'm like, great. I gotta make my way and find out where they're playing this movie and catch it. And I told my sister about it. She was hyped. She was on board. I told my cousin about it. He was on board. So I sent him a text message earlier this morning. I'm like, yo, what are you doing? He's like, I get out of work at 6. I'm like, cool. We're going to see Jeepers Creepers 3 at 7. Meet me at my house. So we did. We left. We got there and everything like that. Theater was relatively packed for the most part. One of the auditoriums was actually sold out in general. And this one, I don't want to say it was close, but there were maybe like 2 handfuls, maybe 3 handfuls left of seats. So again, it drew pretty much a good crowd. I can't speak on behalf of other theaters around the nation or anything like that, but yeah, I was pleasantly surprised about that. Just talking about the trailers, watching that, I'm like, this movie looks a little bit under budgeted, and I wasn't the only one that thought that. I saw a couple of other comments saying like, is it just me, or does this movie look kind of under budget, blah blah blah, whatever. Reason being is because the director Victor Salva, if I'm not mistaken, was kind of under fire a couple years back for pedophilia charges and everything like that. I think with like a young man or something like that. I'm not completely too sure the specifics or the details, but it's out there. And then even in Jeepers Creepers 2, which I watched not too long ago, actually, just revisited that movie after a couple of years, There are certain scenes with some of the high schoolers where they're just completely shirtless. There's one in particular where they're all laying on top of a bus. There's just a lot of odd imagery and symbolism, even going back to the first one with the Sistine Chapel of bodies that the creeper left up in that hole that Brendan and Trisha find. So, just to kind of get back on track, so yeah, we were, pretty excited and everything like that. I knew kind of going in that this movie might, look not so good, and it doesn't. I think the only thing that does look good is the creeper, Jonathan Breck. I feel like that's where all of their budget went to. Obviously, paying like the cast and crew and everything like that. Um, the truck, I guess, apparently is owned by some random person, at least from what was informed to me in the credits. But that's whatever. So the movie's going on and everything like that, and we're amongst the three of us. We're trying to figure out like, oh, is this person them? Like blah blah blah, whatever. But I knew that this movie takes place after the first film and takes place before the second film, so it kind of like bridges the gap. So I'm like, okay, how are they gonna, tie in all this stuff, blah blah blah, whatever. So basically, this movie takes place 23 years after the first film. The characters that were introduced don't really get an explanation as to what their tie-in is with the creeper. Case in point, the main character, I don't even know his name. I don't know anyone's name in this movie besides Addie, which is a girl who lives with her grandmother because she can't take living with her stepfather. Her grandmother's crazy because she lost her son from the creeper because he found part of the creeper's hand that fell from the sky because the creeper lost it. Whatever. So that's their tie-in right there. But again, to backtrack, there's a black cop, I guess. I have no idea what his tie-in with the creeper was. I guess maybe because, oh, this is my town, blah, 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 whatever. And my sister made kind of a cool argument. She was like, what if, that black guy was related to the black woman from the first film that was warning Trisha and Brendan, and then she played the song for them. She was kind of like the psychic woman. And I was like, that would have been a really cool sort of story arc. You know what I mean? There were a couple of characters that they could have probably used to maybe tie in. It's like, okay, yeah, my dad was a sheriff at that sheriff station that got attacked at the end of Jeepers Creepers 1. I don't know. Something. A lot of things could have been done a lot more better. So the movie's progressing, and it's just getting worse and worse. There were a couple of death scenes that were just completely dumb. There was one scene where there was this giant freaking cable that shot out and caught somebody by the leg and just reeled them in. It was like the longest cable in the world. There was a jerry-rigged, I don't even know, just spikes that came from the top and bottom of the back of the truck, which is like, how? Because it's not like there's enough space to keep spikes to come down and then to come up, unless they are like this and come this way at a curvature. But even at that, it's like, no, because then the spikes can't bend. There's nothing. It wasn't in the first movie. I'm pretty sure that there was a scene in the first film where Trisha and Brendan are inspecting a truck. If that was the case, why didn't that happen then and catch them? Oh, he got an upgrade. No, that's no. Stuff like that bothers me. Continuity, I suppose. Granted, the second film doesn't highlight the truck. It was mainly in the first one. This film tried to show each strong point of the creeper, like on the ground, in the truck, in the air. In the air, absolutely terrible. I understand some of the concepts that they had, but it was executed poorly because they were so under budgeted. And again, that's not really their fault. They worked with what they had. However, the CGI left a lot to be desired. It looked like the leaked version of X-Men Origins Wolverine. It was just completely unfinished CGI. There's a shot at a hay station. I don't even know what you want to call it. A place where people get hay for their stables and horses. And a crow lands on top of the sign, and it just looks so bad. The beak is still flapping, but there's no crow noises coming out. Even down to the wings coming out of the creeper. Some shots looked cool, some shots didn't. I feel like some of the daytime shots kind of helped it make the wings, the CGI, not look so bad. My sister didn't like the fact that it took place like primarily in the daytime. I thought that was kind of cool because the first one did, and even elements of the second film. But both of those films are far more superior than this one because they did it right. There was just a lot of stuff wrong with this movie, you know? People died. I didn't care that they died. Things happened and I didn't even care about. Characters were just thrown around the place that I don't even know their names. You know, there was a thing with the hand that the grandson found, or the whatever guy found, that the grandmother ended up holding, and she saw something, and then the black guy ended up holding it and he saw something. And I feel like they would have delved a little bit deeper into that had they had the budget, but again, they didn't. This movie leaves a lot more questions unanswered and a lot more new questions to be raised. You know what I mean? The only redeeming qualities about this movie is, again, Jonathan Breck as the creeper. This dude kills it. You know, he every time he was on screen, I'm like, okay, just stay on screen, because everything else I know is going to be terrible. It's just going to be a downhill ride from this point. And again, spoilers, but I don't care. I already warned you. Why are you here? Another redeeming quality was the ending, when Addie escapes with her stupid freckled-faced boyfriend. I don't even know his name. And, you know, he's saying his goodbyes or whatever, and then you hear, like, a vehicle honking, and then he goes to the back of his pickup truck, and then he pulls out this varsity jacket, and I knew this was coming, because obviously it's like a prequel sequel. I'm like, how are they going to tie in the second one? So he picks up this varsity jacket, and it's the Dannon team or whatever, football team. I think that's the name of the town, Dannon, something like that. And then it shows like the school bus or whatever waiting out there, and then you hear like the football team like doing their stupid chant or whatever from the second film. And then there's a narration that starts up, and then it ends up being that it's Trisha's the big reveal, and it's the actress from the first film, and she's saying how she's recording all this stuff, blah blah blah, whatever, to keep documents so people can understand what happens and what had happened, and that she's gonna get revenge on this thing for it killing her brother, blah blah blah. Which maybe that's what this film just should have been. Trisha and the old man from Jeepers Creepers 2 teaming up together. She finds out that he has this attraction show at his barn with the creeper's body, and she's like, no, bro, like, you gotta get rid of this thing. I'm gonna go visit him. And then when she goes to visit him, maybe he's dead, and then, like, the son is still alive, and then, like, they band together to try and take it down. I don't know. That, to me, is, like, the most obvious thing that they could have done, and sometimes the most obvious thing isn't necessarily the worst thing in the world. But you know what? Maybe if this movie gets enough traction from this one night only showing, because there is a diehard fan base for this franchise, and maybe if Blu-ray sales or DVD sales are decent enough, maybe that'll get some sort of studio, whether it's this one or something else, to back it, maybe with a higher budget, and then they can be able to do whatever vision that they have. I don't know. It leaves so much to be desired. Waiting 13, 14 years for the sequel, for utter disappointment. I feel like I went through a bad breakup. I feel like I just divorced someone. Someone kicked my dog. The list goes on and on. I can keep going, and it's just sad. I wanted something better, and I waited all day for this. Not even all day. I waited 13 years for this. And then when that trailer dropped last month out of nowhere, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, it's happening. And then this day came, and I've been waiting. I'm like, oh my God, I gotta get out of work. It's 6 o'clock. And then when it came, I zoomed home, got here the quickest I've ever gotten here, got to the theater for disappointment. And I'm sorry. I'm just laying it out there. Just because I love something doesn't mean I'm gonna defend it. I even did it in my Resident Evil the final chapter review that I did earlier this year. Yes, that franchise is not the best, but there are some decent aspects about it, and they're, to me, they're fun movies. They're dumb fun movies. And I tore that movie a new one because it was so bad. And again, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I'm not gonna be like, you know what? Yeah, this movie was good. Sorry, no. I'm gonna tell it like it is. So overall, really, the only redeeming qualities was Jonathan Breck as the Creeper and the ending tie into the second film, and then a possible sequel with Trisha finally getting her revenge on the Creeper killing her brother. So that's that. I don't know. We can only pray that maybe they do something better. We shall see. I'm sure there's going to be a slew of negative reviews on this movie. Who knows? I might even not want any studios to back a sequel. I don't know. But it's just sad, unfortunately, what Victor Salva kind of got himself into. He backed himself into a bit of a corner with what he did. Personal things aside and everything like that, that's a crummy situation, and by no means do I want to sound like I'm supporting a pedophile or anything like that. But it should have been better, and it could have been better. If I had to give this movie a letter grade, I would give it an F, but I'm going to give it a solid D minus. So thank you guys for tuning in. If you enjoyed my review, please make sure to leave a like, favorite it, share with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, MySpace, Tumblr, Google+, Stitcher, the Pinterest, I don't even know. Stitcher's not even a thing. That's for like podcasts. Comment down below. Tell me your thoughts on the movie. What's your favorite Jeepers Creepers film? Did you enjoy like even 30 seconds of this movie? Anything and everything. Feel free to sound off in the comment section down below. In the description box, you'll find a couple of links and everything. Find a link to our film channel. Our gaming channel. This is our film channel. Blah. Our gaming channel, The Red Planet Gaming, where we are 680 subscribers strong. So make sure to check that channel out if you're not subscribed to it already. And our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram if you want to follow us on social media. Most importantly, hit that subscribe button if you're new. Turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. That's pretty much it. Again, like, favorite, share, comment, subscribe, check the description box, turn on notifications, all that good stuff. Feel free to let me know what you guys thought about this movie and what's your favorite Jeepers Creepers film. That's pretty much it. I'm going to go find me a bottle of whiskey and start drinking, even though I never drank. But we all got to start somewhere, right? Thank you guys for tuning in. Catch you in the next video.